Chapter 5. Nate parked 2 blocks up this time, on a side street with a clean sight line through a gap in the row of houses. Killed the engine. Killed the dome light before he even opened the door, out of habit. Out of 13 years of not wanting to be the guy who got made because he forgot the small stuff. He set the Nikon on the dash, braced against a rolled-up jacket, and started shooting. The house was lit up like nothing he'd seen the night before. A man on the corner by the fire hydrant, hands in his coat, eyes moving up and down the block every few seconds. Another posted at the mouth of the alley behind the property. A third leaning against a black Escalade parked crooked against the curb, not even bothering to hide the bulge under his arm. Guards on every corner, just like the guy said. Nate counted cars, 4 along the near side of the street that hadn't been there the night before, engines occasionally turning over to run the heat, exhaust curling up into the streetlight, men sitting in them, waiting. He got plates on 3 before a 4th car rolled up and blocked his angle. 2 men got out of it he didn't recognize. Good coats, out-of-state plates on the car itself. Jersey. No. Ohio. He zoomed in, held his breath, got the shot. One of them shook hands with a guy on the stoop like they were old friends catching up, except neither of them was smiling. This wasn't a crew being careful. This was a crew that had already lost something and knew it. Nate lowered the camera for a second, just to look with his own eyes instead of through glass. Renzetti's people didn't do this. He remembered enough from the job, enough from Wetzel's old briefings, to know this family stayed quiet on purpose, paid the right captains, greased the right inspectors, kept their business indoors and their guns out of sight, because visibility was bad for business. A family that comfortable didn't post 4 cars and out-of-state muscle on a residential block, unless somebody had already put a knife in their side. Somebody had cut the head off the snake, and the body hadn't figured out yet that it was already dead. He raised the camera again, caught one more face, older, heavy-set, standing just inside the doorway, giving orders with short, chopping motions of his hand, and held the shutter down, burning through frames. Then a curtain moved on the 2nd floor, just a flicker. Somebody looking out. Nate went still behind the wheel, camera down, waiting to see if the flicker turned into anything more. The knock on the glass never came this time. Just the door yanked open, and a hand fisted in his collar before he'd even registered the footsteps behind the car. Well, well. Angelo's face filled his view. Close enough Nate could smell the garlic on his breath. Look who it is. Carlo came around the other side, already reaching for the camera bag on the seat. Shouldn't be here tonight, Nate. Bad night to be taking pictures. I'm working a case. You're coming with us. Angelo hauled him out by the arm. No gentleness in it. Nate's shoulders scraping the door frame on the way. Whether you leave after depends how the conversation goes. They didn't bother with a bag over his head. Didn't bother blindfolding him at all, which told Nate something. They weren't worried about him identifying the place later. Either he wasn't walking out to tell anybody, or they didn't care anymore who knew where they were. Neither option sat easy in his stomach. They walked him through the garage, past a car up on a jack, and a workbench nobody had touched in weeks, dust thick across the tools. Down a hallway lined with photographs he didn't get time to look at, into a room with dark wood shelves and a fireplace that wasn't lit, and there, arranged around a long table, sat what was left of it. 4 of them, older men, Men Nate recognized from a decade of surveillance photos and courtroom benches. DeMarco, Reyes, a guy they called Sonny, whose real name Nate had never once heard spoken aloud. Fewer chairs filled than empty, a lot fewer. DeMarco didn't stand, didn't offer a hand, just looked at Nate the way a man looks at a stray dog that's wandered somewhere it shouldn't have. "Sit down, Calloway." His voice was quiet, too quiet. "We got some things to discuss." Nate didn't move toward the chair right away. "You gonna tell me what's going on around here, or am I just here for the ambiance?" Nobody laughed. Sonny leaned forward, elbows on the table, and said the last thing Nate expected to hear. "You tell us. You're the one been sitting outside our house 2 nights running. What exactly do you think you know?" Nate pulled the chair out slow, sat, and let the silence stretch a second longer than felt comfortable. Play it calm. Play it like he already knew half the answer. "Where's your boss?" he said. Nobody answered. "Word I got, he walked right out of the morgue, fit as a fiddle." He watched their faces while he said it, watched close. Not one flicker of surprise, not one raised eyebrow, not one glance traded between them. DeMarco's jaw just tightened, and Sonny's hand went still on the table where it had been tapping a slow rhythm a second before. They already knew. "So he's here," Nate said. "Not a question anymore. That's what this whole thing is. Guards on every corner, cars up and down the block, guys in from Ohio." He leaned back, let it settle. "You're not defending against another crew. You're holding this place until you figure out how to get him back on his feet officially. Buy time. Grease whoever needs greasing. Make it look clean when he walks back into the world like nothing happened." DeMarco's eyes narrowed, but he still didn't speak. "Am I right?" Reyes shifted in his chair. Sonny's hand came off the table entirely, disappeared into his lap, and Nate didn't love where that put his mind. "You don't know what you're talking about," DeMarco finally said. "Flat. Too flat. The kind of flat a man uses when the thing you said landed dead center, and he needs a second to figure out how much damage that does him. Then tell me I'm wrong." Nobody told him he was wrong. The fireplace seemed to exhale behind the empty grate, though nothing was burning in it. Nate kept his hands loose on his knees, kept his breathing even, and waited to see which one of them broke first. DeMarco finally leaned back, waved a hand like he was clearing smoke that wasn't there. "We got our own reasons for the guards. That's our business, not yours." He glanced at Sonny, some silent thing passing between them. "But you're wasting your time on this house. We're not who you should be watching." "Then who?" "Varkas." He said the name like it left a bad taste going down. "That's where the trouble's coming from. That's who's trying to take this city apart piece by piece." Nate kept his face still. "You know where to find them?" "Everybody knows where to find them. Ain't a secret." "Sonny, something bitter in it. They're not hiding. That's the thing about them. They don't need to hide." DeMarco tapped the table once, decision made. "Tell you what, we'll drive you there ourselves, right to their door. We're not setting foot on that block. Not after..." He stopped himself, jaw working, didn't finish it. "But you want to see where this is all coming from, we'll take you. Hell's Kitchen. Bet you the whole crew you'll find Renzetti walking around over there inside 48 hours, large as life. Nate looked around the table. Empty chairs. Men who used to run half this borough, sitting in a room with the lights low, talking about a rival crew like it was something closer to a ghost story than a turf beef. "Why would you do that?" Nate said. "Hand me a lead like that. What's in it for you?" Nobody answered that one either. DeMarco just stood, buttoned his jacket, and looked down at Nate with something that wasn't quite fear and wasn't quite grief, but sat somewhere close to both. "You want to see the new hub of this city or not, Calloway?" He nodded toward the door. "Cars out front. Get in or don't. But it's the only chance you're getting."